the facts and giving hot takes. Getting the stats, he never takes breaks. Always there for you. He's like a mesh.
How's everyone doing? I hope you're ready for week 3 preview here and a little week 2 review. We're going to do a little podcast episode here, and I'm just going to go through, kind of talk about where the league's at, and give my view on how everything's going. Hope everyone's doing well. Some of us are doing better than others. After 2 weeks, we got only 3 teams remaining undefeated. No surprise to see Joe there. Mike off to a hot start, but big surprise to me is seeing Matt Erdman at 2-0. He's had a pretty strong start, despite Saquon Barkley not doing all that much. It's kind of the same story as last year. He's doing well even without Barkley. So I don't want to say it's nice to see that. I don't like seeing anyone do better than me, but it's better than being 0-2. We got 3 teams after 2 weeks that have yet to secure a win. Not a big surprise to see Lucas down there. His team is in full rebuild, and let me check here. Week 1, 42 points. Week 2, 34 points. So he's yet to put up 50 points. I think that's the first big benchmark for Lucas. Try to go ahead and score 50 points one week. Could get lucky and have players pop off, maybe hit 80 points, and catch someone on a bad week, maybe get a win. Going through his team here real quick. Winston, not a great start to the second week here. I think a lot of people were a little skeptical about that 5 touchdown week 1. Didn't seem sustainable, especially when he's, only getting 22 or less throws a game. It's bound to be a problem for him. His eyesight finally failed him in week 2. Going through MVS is Kenneth Gainwell are maybe some of his best players. Sam Darnold is certainly looking good. Daniel Jones, 31 points last week. Had he started him, just imagine. He put up 34 points on the week. Daniel Jones, a 31-point game. Pretty nice. So, Lucas' team, doing bad, 0-2. Vince 0-2. Kind of a surprise. Now, I did not have Vince ranked very highly. It's not because I hate Vince's team. I actually like a lot of the players on Vince's team. It's really just how much more I like some of the other teams. But even I'm surprised to see him start 0-2. Put up 120 points last week, but unfortunately for him, playing Brandon, 173 points last week. Big surprise. I definitely have, it's not buyer's regret, I guess, seller's regret, giving away Derrick Henry. 44 points, monster game for Derrick Henry, doing what he does. Yeah. What can I say? I'm sad, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has not looked great. I know that. I feel like I can't trade him now. I just have to hold and hope, which is a bad spot to be with on someone on your team. Real good week for Brandon. Happy to see my brother do well. The other 0-2 team is Josh. After 2 weeks, Josh and Lucas have the same record. This is crazy to me. I think Josh's team, by consensus, was the best team going into the season, and he's just had 2 very, very hard matchups the first 2 weeks. I do think he'll turn it around. I don't think it's time to panic. He's been putting up a lot of points. He's in a good spot. Let me look up here in the standings. It's weird to see him at 0-2 with the most points scored in the league. Just a crazy start. Looking at his week 3 matchup, he's going against Brian. He should pull out a win, but looking at week 3, he's facing Brian. I would pick him to win that game. But yeah, it's never good to start 0-2. It feels bad. I think panic sets in for me around 4 losses. So 0-2 start puts a lot of pressure on people. So the rest of the league, we're all sitting at 1-1. I don't think any of us are too proud of ourselves, but it could be worse, but it could be better. So I know for myself, looking at my team, because, why wouldn't we talk about my team? Very disappointing start so far. I really needed to pull away with the win last week. I thought it was doable, and, just some of my players are not performing. It's to the point where I'm putting Brandon Cooks in this week, and I didn't think that's where I'd be week 3. Slow start for Josh Allen. I'm trying to turn it around, but honestly, I look at the matchup with Caleb, and it's very, very close. I'm at 124. He's at 123 for projections. I think Caleb wins this game, and I hate saying that because I need the win, right? It feels so much better to be 2-1 than it does 1-2, and Caleb's team just always finds a way to beat me. Just historically, I think looking back, I am something like 1-9 versus Caleb all time. He just always finds a way to beat me. It drives me nuts. So I just know Lamar is going to put up a random 40-point game out of nowhere versus Detroit, and I'm going to end up losing. So a little doom and gloom for myself as far as the outlook. I thought my team was a top 4 team, and after just a couple weeks, I don't want to overreact, but my impression is Joe, Josh, Cole, and Jason Brandos have the top teams. I think that Matt and Brian are surprise good teams for me. I didn't have them too low rated, especially Matt. I think I had as one of those fringe teams, but Matt's team's looking pretty good so far. So early impressions, I think those top 3 teams to me, Joe, Josh, Cole, and that's Josh. Even at 0-2, I'm saying that. And Mike seems very good too. So interesting to see. My team's feeling bad. I just hope to get to the playoffs at this point. But I look at some of the points that these other teams are putting up, and it's more than mine. So hopefully my team can get better throughout the season. I think Josh Jacobs and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are going to have a lot to say about how well my team does, and my outlook on them right now is a little pessimistic, so a little nervous. Looking at the matchups going into week 3, I kind of already covered Caleb and I think Caleb just finds a way to win. That's what he does when he's playing me. Jason versus Brandon. It's crazy how close a lot of these projections are. 130 to 129 on Brandon versus Jason. I think Jason's team's for real. I think Brandon's team's dangerous any given week, but I would pick Jason to win this matchup. Just a lot of good players there, and I think he just finds a way to end up winning this. So we'll see if Brandon can strike gold again multiple weeks in a row, but I think his team will be a roller coaster up and down, and I think Jason's team's just a safe bet here. Looking at Vince, 0-2 versus Matt Erdman, 2-0. Another close one. Vince is projected to win this one, and I feel like Vince is due for a win. And I know Tom Brady and those Buccaneers have been scoring a lot of points for Matt. They're playing the Rams, which I think is a little harder of a matchup. But then I go through and I look at some of these soft matchups his team has. Like Barkley gets Atlanta, Edmonds gets Jacksonville, Metcalf gets Minnesota. Noah Fant even gets the Jets. Like, you go through this team and it's just like, yeah, I can see a lot of high-scoring games here. So, man, I hate to project it this way, and I think I've been maybe a little too high on Matt because every week looking at his projections, I always project him to outdo his projections here. But I am again going to pick Matt to have that 3-0 hot start for Matt. I think he upsets Vince, and Vince, despite his best efforts, starts 0-3. Rough start. There's not much to cover. Mike versus Lucas. Unfortunately, Lucas is really the bye week this year. I think playing him, I can't imagine ever picking him to beat someone. He's again projected in the 70s. He's projected 79 this week, which just goes to show you the flaw in the projection system of Sleeper. He has a real hot pickup of Hunter Renfrow, projected 8.5 points. That's actually, other than his quarterback, his highest projected player this week, right off the free agency. You'd love to see it. We'll see how it goes for him, but I'm projecting Mike to win that and go to 3-0 as well. Both of them I'm projecting to stay unbeaten. Next we have Josh versus Brian. Brian's had a hot start. He's starting Teddy Bridgewater and Jamal Williams. I look at Brian's team and I get it. I think Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuels and Sutton all are playing great. It's been a lot of points for him through those 4 players with the Kelsey on top. When you look outside of that, though, it gets a little rough. Like starting Felton at RB is a little scary for me for that to be your RB2. And again, Jamal Williams, I don't have total trust in. I hope he gets better over the season, but it's so hard for me to look at his RB1 and 2 and project him to win. But I know it's possible with those 4 wide receivers and Kelsey. You know, things can happen, but I think that Josh's bad luck will finally end here, and he'll come away with a win this week. So I'm projecting Josh to win this game. Finally go 1-2. Finally get ahead of Lucas in the rankings. The last matchup here, we have Cole versus Joe. Cole's team's really good. Kyler Murray has been amazing so far. I did try to trade in the offseason Josh Allen for Kyler Murray straight up, and Cole wisely turned that down. I think Kyler Murray is going to be like a fantasy QB1 type season. I'm really excited to watch him play. I think he's one of the most fun QBs to watch right now, just how that offense goes. Can Antonio Gibson and Mixon, return to form? I don't know. Real hard matchups this week for him, at Buffalo, at Pittsburgh. I think his team's good. I think he'll be fine season long, but I'm picking Joe to win this one and remain undefeated. So we'll have 3 teams at 3-0, off to a real hot start. We'll see how the rest of us shake out after week 3. I think that's the time when panic really starts in for those 0-3 teams. I'm only projecting 2 teams to be at 0-3. So we'll see how it goes. Competition's been good this year, other than, again, the bye week versus Lucas, which, I understand the rebuild. I guess let's take a moment to talk Lucas. Lucas talk. He's on a total rebuild. He's got a lot of draft picks coming up. Let me see if I can get a look at those, actually. Yeah, so Lucas has a lot of picks. In 2022, 4 second rounders. No first rounders, but he's got 4 second rounders. 2023, he's got a bunch of first rounders. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got a couple of second rounders, 3 second rounders, 4 second rounders, and he's got a bunch of third rounders. So his team's going to be terrible until 2025, because even with all those rookies at 2024, they don't all just pop off. You don't just get all winners. There's obviously bust every year. You're going to have people that don't work out. Yeah, it's tough because I don't think his team could possibly be good before 2025. Now, he can grab players along the way, right? Get lucky, get a few players, breakouts, and hold on to them. So, for example, at quarterback, he has Daniel Jones, right? Winston, and Sam Darnold. So maybe Sam Darnold ends up working out long-term for him. Quarterback solved. Doesn't need to draft that. But at these running back prospects, you got to really be hoping Gainwell works out and Sanders ends up being a total bust, which Sanders might be a little injury prone, but I don't think he's just like disappearing from the team. It's hard to see it right now, but, as much as everyone shits on it, he took over the worst team in the league. It was the worst by far. He committed to the total rebuild. And as long as he just finds 1 or 2 decent players each year and starts building on that, right? Gets a couple this year, a couple next year, slowly builds the starting roster. I think he could have a team. I'm not going to say it's going to be one of the best teams, but you have a team that's getting wins by 2025. That's such a long wait. I respect his, what's a good word for it? His patience for waiting that long for his team to work out. I could never do that. It is a complete reversal of how I would manage a team, how I would manage a rebuild. I'm all about winning now, and I'm all about trading my picks, trading players, and just trading for things I know. I feel more certainty in players to know, which isn't true. People get hurt all the time. Situations change all the time. Just because I'm trading for someone that's currently in the league doesn't mean it's safer, necessarily. But I think rookies have this really high potential that everyone sees. Everyone sees the best possible version of them and not the realistic version of them. So I think you pay more for rookies than you do for, a middle of the road guy like Brandon Cooks, who I can get cheaper and will probably outperform everyone in this, almost every player that was taken in the second round and after wide receiver wise. I don't know. If I look at Jason's team, Jason and I are very yin and yang. Jason traded for a lot of picks. He got a lot of really good young players, and it's built up his team to being really good. And it does admittedly look better than mine right now. Versus my team, I traded for all the players I have. I did get Najee Harris this year, but that was giving up Derrick Henry for Najee Harris and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Elijah Moore is how I viewed it. I was trading for those players. I don't know. It's kind of a just different way to do it. I can't say one's better than the other. Jason's team looks better than mine right now, and maybe in a few years we all look like fools when Lucas has built this absolute garbage team up to something great. That being said, he is just straight up a bye week in this league for this season. I can't picture any way, no matter how great he is at free agency, of coming up with a competitive team. I mean, like I said, right now the goal for his team is to just score 50 points in a single week. So that's been the Lucas talk, looking at his team. We'll check back in it in a few weeks, and I would love later this year to do an interview with Lucas to see how he feels after, starting 0-8. Or if he gets a win, man, I'll never let that go. There'll be a whole episode on how he got that win. It'll be like a ESPN 30 for 30, but of the Zoe Empire, of Lucas beating that team. So if you are that team, you'll never live that down. That'll be an all-time embarrassing loss. I don't know if anyone remembers, but this was long ago. I think we were still on ESPN, or maybe this was the year we tried out the NFL app. But my wife was in the league, and my wife hadn't won a game all year. Her team was not good. I couldn't tell you a player on it. I don't remember. This was a while ago. And I played her the last game of the regular season, and I needed the win. And she beat me, and I missed the playoffs. So I think that is one of the most embarrassing defeats we've ever had. I've certainly never forgotten it. It was quite an embarrassing defeat for me. My team, I felt like, was just getting hot, and then I lost that week, missed the playoffs, and rest is history. So if someone loses to Lucas, that is that embarrassing defeat times 100. I mean, I'm cheering for it each week. I find myself cheering for Lucas to somehow get the win, but it's going to be hard. Other than that, I mean, that's really a catch-up on the league and what's going on and how I see it. Not sure what else to bring up, really. So, yeah, I think that'll do it for this week. I'll end it there, and I'll see you guys next week.